it's our main source of water, and it's interesting to know that we don't only use our water. Don't use our water for bathing because we only use smoke and special herbs to keep ourselves fresh.
Oh, that sounds sustainable.
We also cover our body in ojitse. That's how we get our red skin, and we also get our braids from there.
Oh, we do that as well in the disco scene, as a form of, we paint our bodies in the form of a creative expression.
That's so cool. Ojitse is a mixture of fat, butter, and ochre, and it's also how we get our nickname as the Red Woman. Ojitse not only colors our body, but it also protects us from the harsh climate here, because we don't wear many clothes to cover our body, like our breasts.
Oh, that's interesting, because in the disco scene, we also don't wear bras. It stands for freedom in general, but also for me as a woman, it stands for sexual liberation. One-night stands are no longer taboos, and I'm even on birth control now. On Saturday nights, you can find me in the club dancing and drinking the night away. And the music is characterized by the 4x4 beat, which actually is equivalent to with the pulse of humans during intercourse. And we wear a lot of colorful clothes, but mostly blue.
It's funny you bring up colors, because did you know that our color perception is different than the rest? Because we only have 5 color categories, and we focus more on the shades of colors than on the colors itself.
Oh, well. To continue, I do have to say that not everyone enjoys the party lifestyle as much as I do, because our culture of excess is resulted in a backlash by religious fundamentalists and conservatives. And my gay brother feels like he can express himself the way he wants to, and as a Latina, I never felt more included in society.
It's funny that you bring up inclusion, because in the Bijlmer, where I come from, only 10% of the population is from Dutch background. So all the rest is composed of people from Turkey, Morocco, Suriname, the Antilles, or even people from Ghana. So it's very eclectic. It happened because it was built in the 60s for originally middle-class families, but those families actually turned out to prefer the more traditional houses with the garden and the parking in front. So the 13,000 apartments that were built mainly in the hexagon honeycomb architecture were mostly left empty, and that's when all the populations came into my neighborhood. We can see this in almost everything. When I walk out my little apartment, I can see tons of different shops all next to each other. I can, for example, see an Asian store that's offering all Asian foods, but just next to it there's an Indian store or a Turkish store.
We also visit supermarkets. It's in the nearest village. We may be living an isolated life, but we do know what's going on in the modern world. We even made a movie about a traditional way of life, and our kids go to school.
I wasn't expecting that. And I can move on to the architecture that we have in our neighborhood. It's inspired by the French architect Le Corbusier, and he wanted to free spaces from restrictions. And we can see that within the neighborhood, because there's a lot of communal spaces, there's a lot of empty open spaces that allow for all the communities to come together.
Oh, speaking of that, in the disco movement, we find it very important to bring people together as well.
Well, I could say in the neighborhood it's also quite easy to see it, because there's, for example, in the middle of the park there's a huge bench with 20 plus seats that allows in the summer for all the people to come together. The kids play around, and it's actually a very fun and happy place, even though it looks quite cold at first impression. It became a shelter for all the discriminated people, because all the people that felt they were outcasted came together, and there's a lot of creativity coming from it. We can, for example, see with the Smith collective of creativity that came out of the Bijlmer, and we can also see a lot of graffiti on the walls everywhere. We can see a lot of street art, and it's very alive. So all those graffitis actually compensate for when we walk through this very gray concrete feeling, but it still feels quite cold because there's so much concrete left over on all the walls.
Well, you should know, in the future, more and more great buildings in the Bijlmer are covered in plants. We even grow our own vegetables within city farms, and we mostly eat vegan.
Really? We never ate meat at all, because we only eat meat at special occasions, like weddings. Fun fact, on weddings we slaughter a goat and we eat the meat, and the bride wears the stomach of the goat like a crown to respect their god Makuru.
Oh, that sounds gross. Since we ran out of fossil gases and we now only use green energy, we are still busy cleaning the oceans because of the pollution of the past. Out of the materials we find, we make new products and no more plastic is produced. In the future, we live in tribes instead of borders. We are united through celebration. In the next slide, you see a little recap.
Sorry. Too big.
Another step, please.
Okay.
No, that's something like perfect.
We can always put it on back later.
Yeah.
And I would move on to a little conclusion of our research. The themes that were overarching a little bit of each part we talked about were, for example, self-sufficiency that we see coming back within the tribes and the Bijlmer as well. We can also talk about the isolation. That was something we can see happen in the Bijlmer. The discriminated people moved into a specific space, which also came across with the tribe where all the people were living outcasted from society. The veganism is something that came over with the future, but also with the tribe. It was all about minorities. We had a certain organic and natural feeling, mostly with the tribes, but it came back again with the future. The farming was something we thought of could be an interesting fact for the future as well, according to the research. And the tribes were actually farmers' communities, so that was also an interesting link for later starting points. Celebration was a very important fact within disco, and the tribes were actually very about the celebration a lot as well. And the traditional aspect was quite interesting because the tribes were always about like keeping what they had and not trying to let it influence by the outside world, which is something that comes across with all the different cultures within the Bijlmer. Body painting, disco tribe as well, and the nudity was within the tribe and the disco as well. So that was it for our research, and for any further questions, we're here.